Time now here on Live from Paris for Media Watch. James Creedon's with us in the studio. Hi there,
Catherine.
James. Taking us through what's been making a buzz online and in the media. And we're starting out with very heated scenes on the streets of France, in Paris, elsewhere as well. The latest protests against the government's attempts to reform labour laws.
That's right. A lot of journalists on the scene in Paris today putting up images and videos on social media, also just participants in the protests. So there's a big, I suppose, footprint of what was happening around France online. First, though, a graphic from Lamont showing that over the course of these successive protests against labour law reform, the numbers are now beginning to drop in the protest movement. So fewer and fewer people taking to the streets, which the Interior Ministry, in terms of the figures they're releasing, I suppose that would give them a sense that perhaps things are going in the right direction, a return to law and order. But certainly fewer people, but a lot more tense and a lot more sort of angry scenes. This is Lamont, which has put together a compilation of various sort of smartphone images that were taken, showing really that there was quite a lot of confrontation between the riot police and I suppose people who were causing trouble amongst the protest movement,
as they're called in France.
Indeed, breakers, and there were quite a few of them. And the images are all across social media. You can see, if my computer will work with me, that there was here we go. This is another scene showing well, I suppose tear gas being fired by the riot police as they were charging into protesters. That's around the Denfert Rochereau Square in the south of Paris, if I'm not mistaken. You also have an image of a, well, this is another scene where tear gas was fired, but one of the most infamous scenes was this Porsche car, which was set alight as well during some of those protests, which even though it was just one car that was set alight, the image has been shared around social media everywhere. You can see there that is the same car in question. So quite a symbolic gesture, I suppose, and one that has been broadcast around social media all day. Just to finish with that tweet, there's a revolt happening across France. Are we paying attention? So I suppose some still very riled up and very determined to see that labour law reform overturned. And of course that labour law reform is what sparked the up all night protest movement that has been going on for weeks now. So a lot of people anxious to see this sort of this movement continue because they feel it's necessary, and of course law and order, the authorities anxious to see it all cool down and calm down.
Because we're used to protests in France, but not necessarily these kind of scenes are not continuing on.
That's
necessarily
right, week after
for this
week.
long. Okay, you've been looking also at the online buzz related to the crisis in Venezuela. Tell us more about that.
That's right, and I suppose that's where things really have spilled over into full-blown crisis in Venezuela. And you see now with the massive inflation, with the fall in terms of oil prices, the economy is in full-scale crisis, which has led now to a petition being signed seeking 4 million signatures to overturn Maduro's presidency. You can see there one 92-year-old lady adding her name to the petition, which has been launched by the opposition. You have hashtags as well online, such as Venezuela in crisis. Indeed, the civil service and public service has been reduced to a 2-day working week because of a shortage of energy. So many people saying really this is a sign of a crisis in the government, in perhaps even the economic system. So the social model, which is now under a lot of pressure. Looting has been breaking out as well because of the economic crisis. There's been various interviews. This is one by Deutsche Welle, which they've put up on their Twitter account, Venezuela's economic woes. If we have lunch, we don't have dinner. So this is really affecting people in their everyday lives and in their ability just to get by. You also have this hashtag, Maduro is darkness. Maduro es obscuridad. Now, that's a reference to the fact that you have energy outages, power outages, so darkness because you just don't have energy, but people are drawing a link between communism, socialism and Maduro. I'm sure this is probably opposition-led. This is one opposition politician, Enrique Capriles, who has put up this image. You can barely make it out there, but that is a map of Venezuela completely in darkness with a little spark of light, and he's saying, let's revoke the darkness. So the power outage is being used, I suppose, as a metaphor to bring about political change. There's also been some satire as well, Catherine. This is the El Chiguire Bipolar show, which has been using various different satirical images, saying, well, at least now we don't have to put up with 4 hours of live TV sort of speeches from Maduro because people don't have their televisions working. There was another one saying people are going to have night vision. I'm not sure if I have that now, but anyway. And finally, one positive of a 2-day week is a 5-day weekend. And some
if you've got the money to enjoy it, I suppose, and the
even
food as well.
Even if you don't, some people saying perhaps the birth rate in Venezuela could now go up because I suppose if
a side product of this crisis. Yeah.
Anyway, if you can find one little glimmer of humour at all, that's maybe it.
All right. Thank you very much
Thanks,
indeed for that, James Creedon there with Media Watch. Well, don't go away. We're going to be right back at 1:30 here on Live from Paris, the very latest international news for you.